With 15 straight wins and 5 dominant title defenses, Kamaru Usman was the welterweight GOAT in waiting. But just when it looked like nothing could stop him, everything came crashing down. What went wrong? And is there still a road back to the top? Let's rewind his losses and find out if Usman's story is really over. Kamaru Usman made a successful start to his MMA journey in 2012, stopping David Glover in the second round.
Right hand lead. He tagged Glover with that one. Here come the knees. Glover in trouble with 20 seconds remaining.
In his second professional fight, Usman faced a tough challenge in Jose Caceres, who had some trouble dealing with Usman early. But once he found his rhythm, he jumped on Usman's back and finished the fight with a rear naked choke. Usman bounced back into the win column with 4 straight wins.
Referee telling him to defend himself. He's not. Finally he stops it.
With 4 wins on the bounce, Usman entered the Ultimate Fighter Season 21 and won the entire thing by beating Haider Hassan in the final. After winning the Ultimate Fighter in 2015, Kamaru Usman made his UFC debut by beating none other than Leon Edwards. From there, Usman kept stacking wins, taking out guys like Alexander Yakovlev, Warley Alves, and Sean Strickland. He then knocked out Sergio Moraes to get his first UFC finish. Bit by bit, Usman kept moving up the ranks. He didn't make noise, didn't beg for title shots, he just kept winning. And when he finally earned his shot at the title in 2019, he stood across from the scariest man in the division, Tyron Woodley.
You hit me, I'm still coming. And I'm coming all night long, T. Wood. Please don't back up.
In their 5-round fight at UFC 235, Usman put on a masterclass and shut Tyron Woodley down from start to finish, walking out with the belt wrapped tightly around his waist.
You know, when I came in, I said this is what I was going to do. I said I was coming for that welterweight strap, and there was nothing that was going to stop me from attaining that and achieving that.
Usman's striking wasn't anything special back then. He had some clear gaps in his game, but even with those flaws, he proved he was the best in the world. And with every title defense after that, he kept leveling up and turning into a more complete fighter. Usman's first title defense was against his biggest rival Colby Covington, who took trash talking to a whole new level heading into their fight at UFC 245.
I want people to hate me. That's a business model. No one cares about you. You're boring, man. People would rather watch flies fuck than watch you fight.
Colby even claimed that Usman was overrated and he was going to expose him.
You know, he's not impressive. He sucks at fighting, and December 14th, I'm going to expose him.
Usman didn't shy away from talking either.
Let's make some noise on December 14th. You guys can't wait for me to murder this clown. Thank you.
On fight night, both men pushed each other to their limits. The fight was razor close and both went toe-to-toe, giving each other hell for almost 5 rounds. It was everything fans hoped for, but Usman was the better fighter by a good margin and broke Covington's jaw and finished the fight in the 5th round with a TKO. Colby was not happy with the stoppage.
And Mark Goddard is seeing this right in front of his face that I'm getting hit in the back of the head. You can go look at the video of the 5th round. I take 4 shots to the back of the head, and I'm completely coherent. And I cover up the back of my head. And when I cover up the back of my head, he calls the fight.
A few months later at UFC 251, Usman was set to defend his title against Gilbert Burns. But when Burns pulled out last minute, Jorge Masvidal stepped in on just 6 days' notice and even thought Jorge gave Usman a challenging fight. The champ was able to cruise to a decision win.
And I knew he was going to be a tough guy. His wrestling's always been good, but you know, my wrestling's just a little bit better.
The real fireworks were launched when the two faced each other in an immediate rematch at UFC 261, when things quickly took a turn with Masvidal talking big.
If Kamaru takes a fight against me on 6-day notice with 20 pounds of cut, I finish him in the 1st or 2nd round. That's a great fighter. He doesn't go to decision with me, and he knows that for a team. That's why he was hugging me for dear life.
Although Masvidal talked big heading into the fight, Usman had to remind him of his journeyman status, saying that Jorge was getting a rematch only because the champ wanted him.
You got 14 losses in your career, 7 in the UFC. You're 3-3 in your last 6. You are sitting there today because I chose you.
When the cage door closed, Usman made Masvidal pay for his words, knocking him out cold in a brutal fashion in the 2nd round. The outcome surprised many, including Masvidal himself.
And I didn't feel that he could knock me out, but man, did he come through and deliver on that day for himself.
After taking care of Masvidal, Usman defended his belt for the 4th time by stopping Gilbert Burns in the 3rd round before facing arch-rival Colby Covington in a long-awaited rematch, which was way more venomous than their first battle. In the lead-up to this fight, Covington made things far more personal. He accused Usman of using steroids.
We saw the photos yesterday. What's all those injection marks around your stomach, bro? Man, those look bad, dude. I saw you with Gage, you look like shit, man. How many, dude, you can't cover the chemical imbalance in your body, bro. You got acne and craters all over your face and back,
This is
man.
another grown man up here
disgusting.
talking about another grown man's body. Colby, is that something you want to tell us?
Then Covington crossed a line, dragging Usman's father into the trash talk. He brought up an old arrest related to healthcare fraud from back when Usman's dad first came to the U.S.
But I didn't. I stayed in the fight, and I broke your fucking jaw.
You took a fake timeout. The only thing you broke is your daddy out of prison. Where's that jailbird at? Is he in the building? We need the scam artist here, just like his son.
Usman didn't bother with words. He let his fists speak loud and clear. Their rematch turned into another all-out war, with both guys landing bombs. But once again, Usman was sharper, tougher, and more dangerous. And when the final bell rang, the champ walked away with a clear, unanimous decision win. With the win, Usman improved to 5 title defenses and 15 straight wins in the UFC, and many expected him to level Anderson Silva's record of 16 consecutive wins in the UFC when Usman was booked to defend his belt against Leon Edwards at UFC 278. But the Brit was about to shock the world. Usman was full of confidence heading into the fight, especially because he had easily beaten Edwards back in 2015.
Yeah, I always gave him his respect, that he's a very, very tough individual, but he hasn't lost because he fought me. You know, I made him better, and he went out there and he started wrestling. But when he fights me again, he's gonna realize that that wrestling was all for nothing.
Edwards wasn't loud or flashy, like most underdogs. He kept things low-key, but whenever he got the mic, he spoke with quiet confidence, like a man who knew exactly what he was capable of.
You cannot finish me, champ. Trust me. You
What?
got it in you, bro.
I didn't hear you, what'd you say?
You can't finish me.
I can't finish you.
Nope.
Give me 30 more seconds in the first fight and I would have finished you, correct?
Shut up. No, you wouldn't.
You forgot? You wanna watch the replays?
You held me for 2 rounds. I watched it.
You wanna watch the replays? I held your hand and I was beating you out of your face in.
On fight night, Edwards struck first, making history as the first man to ever take Kamaru Usman down inside the octagon. But Usman stayed calm and bounced back by dominating Edwards for the next 3 rounds with sharp striking and non-stop grappling. He was just minutes away from yet another dominant title defense, until Edwards pulled a rabbit out of his hat, and with less than a minute left on the clock, he uncorked a thunderous head kick that shut Usman's lights out. The outcome shocked as well as impressed the MMA community, including Usman himself.
What a shot. It was a great shot. A great shot. I'm talking Hail Mary to the Super Bowl. In the Super Bowl, last 10 seconds, that was a great shot, man. Hats off to me.
Since Usman was a dominant champion with 5 title defenses, he called for an immediate rematch, and the UFC was more than happy to grant him his wish. That had many fans wondering what version of Usman would show up because of that devastating head kick. Usman wasn't worried, however, as he claimed the KO wouldn't have any impact since he was an extraordinary human.
But I'm not ordinary, I'm extraordinary, and he's gonna find that out Saturday night.
Usman was oozing with confidence, and he couldn't wait to silence his critics.
I've always gave 100%, you know, with my training. And so it's never been about whether I'm driven or whether I want to work or to get there. I've always been that way. You know, there's a lot that comes with being, you know, the champion. And so, you know, now I've got to silence some of that noise and I got to go back and just grind like I normally do.
The rematch was totally different compared to their first fight, as Edwards stuffed the takedowns and controlled the action from start to finish to earn a comfortable decision win and end Usman's reign of terror in the division. With 2 losses in a row, Usman knew he needed some big wins to climb back into title contention, and a short-notice fight with Khamzat Chimaev at UFC 294 seemed like his big opportunity to do it. Chimaev was scheduled to fight Paulo Costa, but after he pulled out, Usman stepped in on short notice at UFC 294. The fight was Chimaev's biggest test to date, but he wasn't worried as he considered Usman old news.
He's old version, I'm new, you know, it's like different. Like iPhones come out, his iPhone's 5, I'm like, bro, you know. So different.
While Chimaev had his way with words, Usman's response was cheeky too.
iPhone Pros sometimes don't fit in certain pockets. You know, you might need just a regular iPhone. They both take good pictures and they both work just fine.
When the cage door closed, Chimaev wasted no time in shooting for a takedown and landing it effortlessly, controlling the wrestling specialist for the rest of the first round. In round 2, Usman found his rhythm on the feet, landing clean shots in the striking exchanges, but Chimaev's relentless wrestling still gave him the edge. By round 3, Usman looked sharper, more aggressive, and had his best moments of the fight. But Chimaev once again dragged him down to the mat and earned a majority decision win.
I didn't have adequate time to prepare, but it's no excuse. You know, he's as advertised. He's big, he's strong. You know, that kid's as advertised. He's tough, and I give him all the props.
After falling short against Chimaev, Usman took nearly 2 years out of the cage to heal up, recharge, and get back to full strength. And heading into his return fight, Usman looked really confident as he talked about beating Joaquin Buckley and earning a title shot.
It feels great to be back. Just lay out the map right here is finish Buckley this weekend, and then wait for the winner of I believe Islam and JDM.
Such big claims, especially after 3 consecutive losses, is never a good idea, unless you're Kamaru Usman, because on fight night, the Nigerian proved to be a nightmare for rising prospect Buckley, who was dominated for 5 rounds straight, meaning that Usman is well and truly back, and he's still a problem.
They forgot I could fucking wrestle. And they got dismissive, you know, and a little borderline disrespectful. But I just had to pull out the skill and just let them know, hey, respect every aspect of my game. Every aspect.
With Usman back in the title picture, a few other former UFC champions are also hoping to make a comeback after some tough losses. If you're curious about one of them, check out our video on Sean O'Malley.